take it away, Lurlian. Introduce these two.
Let's get this party started. The best of 3 is going to kick off, and in the bottom left spawning position, we've got the red Protoss player. It is Randy. And in the top right, we've got his challenger, Jamesykins, playing as the blue Zerg.
Now, what we are, of course, looking out for is any inclination that something is untoward. That is pretty much the staple. If it isn't untoward, let's go through some of the options. I'm going to go what Jamesykins can do. Okay, the big things at the moment are, of course, big Roach timing pushes. Hydra, Swarm Host, Corruptor, another good composition. Roach, Hydra, Viper if they go Colossi heavy. That's pretty much it. What about for Randy?
For Randy, I'm seeing a few options. There's, of course, all kinds of timings at his disposal. Like I said, it is a Wings of Liberty map. We might see a Wings of Liberty-esque tactic, such as, you know, a 6-gate, a 7-gate, an early 5-gate, maybe a 4-gate into some kind of an expansion. Maybe it is going to be another Immortal Sentry all-in that is still very effective on this map. I mean, Zerg hasn't really got any new tools to deal with the Immortal Sentry all-in. Would you agree?
Yep, I would agree with that.
Because all the options that they do have usually come after.
I'd say the only difference would be the fact that obviously if it is delayed a bit, you can get Hydras out as a bit more of a viable mid-game strategy, because you can get them earlier than you could Infestors, for example.
Yes.
And you can transition out of that, especially if they're doing something gateway heavy. The only time Hydras aren't great is if there's a lot of Colossi. Otherwise, you're fairly good with them, especially against Void Rays or Sky Toss. It's good in low numbers. So that's one thing to look at, potentially. But it's too early to say, really. All I know for sure is what's going on at the moment. It was a Forge first. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was a Gateway first, actually, out of Randy. So going for a bit of double Zealot action. But the Overlord sees everything.
And a Roach Warren being built here by Jamesykins to go ahead and counter that. I was looking at your screen, but my screen is showing just the exact same Roach Warren being built here. That is...
just as a slightly different angle.
That's a one hell of an investment to be making a Roach Warren to go ahead and defend.
But look at his scout.
This.
His scout has seen everything. The Overlord has spotted absolutely perfectly that it's... well, the double pylon here, just the gateway. It's aggressive. There's no nexus. He knows he can do that because ultimately, if this aggression doesn't do a lot, then with a pylon block here, well, he can't take his expansion. He's just got to go and kill him.
Randy is going to need something. He's going to need a Cybercore now or a Forge soon, because that counterattack with the Roaches is going to come. But there's only 2 Roaches. Gas mining is still continuing, though, so that's really showing me that Jamesykins wants to go ahead and get maybe 4 or 5 Roaches in total.
Yeah, currently he's just supply blocked. He can't get any more Roaches out because of that. So what he needs to do is
sloppy.
he needs to chuck down an Overlord, and he still hasn't. And this sort of delay is not something that you necessarily want. But as we see, the Zealots trying to pull back, but with 3 Zealots there, and the Probe even getting in on the action, the Roaches are going to have to do a lot. Zerglings are dying ever so quickly, and this is pretty tough. And now we see yet another pylon going down, just trying to close up the distance, allowing the Zealots to engage more cost effectively.
That was pretty cool. I saw that probe move over there, and I was like, yeah, he's going to try to drop a building. But of course, there are those unbuildable rocks there, so it's going to be a little bit harder for him to do. The 2 Roaches are now being forced back. There's still 3 Zealots and 2 probes. That's still a pretty menacing army. They will beat 2 Roaches on half HP.
Yeah, they will indeed, and that means Jamesykins has got a micro like mad. He's been supply blocked for what seems like an eternity. And now only just getting that Overlord out, grabbing a couple more Roaches. But as we see, this has been very, very effective in my opinion, because Randy, he's already at 23 probes, just 19 drones.
And he could go ahead and rebuild that pylon. That's exactly what I was going to say. Rebuild that pylon, maybe even get a cannon there. That would be so frustrating for Jamesykins to deal with. Only 2 Roaches still. The next 2 Roaches are about to pop out, but this situation is getting worse every second that this pylon stays up and the Zealots stay harassing.
Yeah, and what it comes down to is the fact the Nexus is already a third done back at the natural of Randy. He's got his cannon there. He's really quite secured. The Zealots are actually pushing up this ramp, doing a good job on the Roach. He's going to micro them back. Otherwise, they're going to take a lot of damage. One does actually die there. Another one goes down. And that just means picking off this pylon is going to take a couple of seconds more. And every second really does count.
Wow, that Jamesykins started off microing that like a god.
Yep.
Granted, it wasn't the most difficult micro task. I mean, there were 5 Roaches to micro, so it's not the most difficult thing to do in the world, but he was doing the micro that he needed to, and then the last few seconds, that Zealot got 2 kills. A little bit sloppy.
Now, really, all Randy has to worry about is a bit of Roach aggression against this, but he's chucked down a second cannon, and honestly, I don't think he's going to have any problems, because there's no follow-up from Jamesykins. It is literally just 4 Roaches.
Yeah, that's not a lot. 4
and
roaches.
2 of them are basically dead.
But he can use those roaches, maybe, if he can get them in the proper angle, to pick off a Cybercore or maybe even a gate.
Oh, losing one there. That's not what you want to be doing if you already got quite low. And we do have a sentry coming out as well. So, to be fair, I don't think this is a huge problem for Randy at the moment. And just look at the probes. He's still at 30.
He doesn't need a sentry, though. He needs a Stalker. He needs the superior range on the Stalker, the superior speed of a Stalker to be able to actually deal with these roaches. This sentry is going to do absolutely nothing for him.
Yep, it's just popped out and it's suddenly being like, I guess I'll use a force field. Very wisely, though, getting a roach into range. And that just means that actually one less roach can engage at a time. But this gateway is still going down.
Yeah, the gateway is going to be falling. The Stalker is not going to be popping out. And Randy suddenly in some trouble. If that Cybercore somehow... Nah, he's not going to let that happen. He'll pull probes if he needs to.
Well, you say that, but it's taking a lot of damage and there is no probes there yet. The wall-off getting recompleted by the gateway coming down. There is a lot of gateways back in the main base, though clearly going for some aggression. Smart move, putting the sentry up on the high ground in order to start taking some of them out.
Oh, looks like he's found the sweet spot there. There's no safe spot for those roaches, and the sentry is going to be able to scare them away. That was close, man. If that sentry wouldn't be in range there, everything would be different.
Now, Jamesykins has actually pulled drone production. He's producing nothing but roaches at the moment. And as a result of that, he is only at 31 drones to 44 probes. That is a bit of a problem. Even though his third is about to complete, it's so late. And I just don't think he's going to have the production or the economy to warrant the production to be up against this big gateway timing. And after all, we are sitting there with what is a good number straight away. It is 6 of them straight down. So 6 gateways. That is a lot of stalkers very quickly indeed.
It is going to be difficult for him to deal with that. He's made a few roaches, but the roaches are relatively low in number.
Oh, the Cybercore taking a lot of damage here.
Yeah, it is going to go down. He really he produced another 4 or 5 extra roaches to go in for the kill. And I don't think he got a single round of production off, did he? Yes, he did. He's warped in 6 sentries on the other side of the map.
That's a bit interesting.
That's the wrong side of the map.
Yep, that is not the side of the map that it wants to be on. How long is the cooldown on those gateways? They're all getting chrono boosted at the moment. And there it goes, it is complete, but it's only Zealots able to warp in. No cannon there either. But very wisely warping Zealots in on both sides of those roaches, trapping them, surrounding them, dealing the damage that he needs to. And straight away, this is getting denied.
Oh, those roaches getting trapped there. Very nice micro by Randy. Not the best out of Jamesykins. Going to be losing a lot of those roaches. And the sentries are still sitting on the other side of the map. More Zealots being warped in. The counterattack is starting to take shape. Jamesykins, he's like, oh, well, wow, I killed his Cybercore before he warped in anything. I'm going to be pressuring. So this is going to be... could be some weird kind of a base trade that I think is going to be working out very well for Randy.
Yep, Randy is now just going straight in. He's doing a lot of damage to this third hatchery. It's definitely going to go down. Jamesykins desperate to try and pull back those units in time, but he's just not going to be able to.
He's not going to be able to. The Cybernetics core has now finished up. A big warp in of snipers.
Oh, the sentries! The sentries are getting sniped off here. That was a good little move there by Jamesykins, rather.
Oh yeah, that's the last thing Randy needed right now. Those roaches are going to be taking out all those sentries. There's just not enough support units, and he is investing in a robo and a gateway, so he doesn't have the stalkers to finish this off. Randy! Oh man, this could have been so good for him, but now I think it's going to be somewhat even. Yeah,
I think the only thing really in Randy's favour is the economic advantage. He's got 17 more probes out than drones, and he did pick off the third, which is awkward to come back from as a Zerg player. But yeah, I think the thing is, ultimately, you've got to be looking at the basic facts. That Randy, for some reason, hasn't made a Mothership core. And I just don't understand why.
Yeah, they're playing Wings of Liberty, didn't you know?
Oh, are they? Did they just roll back?
Yeah.
No, I just like, it's one of those things that'd be so good. Nice little burrow micro there with the roaches, and with no observer out currently, nothing you can do about that.
No, he cannot. No cannons out here to detect anything either, so a little bit of a difficult position. Randy is catching up in supply to Jamesykins. Jamesykins still very low on the work account, only at 44 drones to the 60 probes of the Protoss. So Protoss is going to be able to build a very powerful army relative to the Zerg.
Yeah, and with that Immortal popping out, that is looking really nice. That's going to be able to deal with those roaches very comfortably. Some good force fields going down, literally splitting that army in half, trapping so many. The Observer is out on the field as well now, which means the Burrow is no longer going to be effective. The Immortal was sniped off though, good little pick off there. And as you can see, the roaches though, still forced back by just superior Stalker sentry numbers.
Only 44 workers. That's the result of, you know, the aggression that Randy has been showing, taking out that third base. And I'm not really sure why Jamesykins is still producing units. He needs to fall back and get some drones out to be able to keep up with the production of Randy. Oh, those roaches, where are they going to go? They're pretty much stuck. They do have the speed upgrade finish, so luckily they're not going to get caught in the middle of the map.
Yep, which I guess is the only plus side, is that they aren't getting caught. But as we can see, there's a good advantage to Randy at the moment. Even though the army supply is relatively similar, that work account, and I know I've kept going on about it, but that's where the advantage really comes, that if you've got a good worker lead, you're looking good. But it looks like actually Jamesykins going to go for a bit of a counter-attack, trying to deny this third, but suddenly a whole ton of units from Randy coming in, and if he knocks out this hatchery, I think that's going to be it.
Yeah, there's really no way he can defend against this. There's so many sentries, a lot of force fields are in store, and the Roaches, of course, cannot really push up this ramp, but they're going to try. They have to try.
They have to try, but once you've lost that third for the second time, you're in a lot of problems, because your economy is just in tatters compared to that of your opponent, and ultimately, just look at the size of that army for Randy. Jamesykins is going out for the Hydras though, which I actually quite like as a choice, because there's no Colossi on the field, or any Storms or anything like that, so they will be effective against this Gateway Immortal force, but as we're seeing, I just don't think they're going to get out in time to be able to stop it.
No, there's just not going to be enough of anything to really stop Randy.
Force field at that natural.
And that's going to force, yeah, Jamesykins contemplating going for the counterattack, but he knows that's not going to be working out either. He's going to try to make something work here.
And yep, it looks like those Stalkers just coming straight up, going to start sniping off a couple of those Overlords, getting the Queens down as well, and I'm expecting to see a GG on any second. And both these two were very aggressive through this game, back and forth, but yeah, now the Hydra Den's gone, now the Macro Hatch is gone. That was really the only thing helping the production. The Roaches are going to go for one last throw, but there we go. GG.